This week, our spotlight is on online gaming or e-gaming. As you may know, there are good, bad, and ugly games. So it's important to know what we must play, but more than that, what we must not play. To tell us more about what we need to guard against in the world of virtual games, we have with us Mr. Rakshit Tandon, who is cybersecurity consultant with the Internet and Mobile Association of India. So, Mr. Tandon, you've been very vocal about your campaign against PUBG, and you've conducted workshops across leading schools in India, sensitizing students, creating awareness amongst parents and teachers about the ill effects of this game. What has been the moot issue with a game like this, which was eventually banned in September 2020? And which are the games like PUBG which are in the realm of totally avoidable, completely no games, according to you, sir?
I have been speaking about gaming addiction. I have been speaking about the mental health issues related to gaming, and especially where we noted a lot of symptoms like aggression and violence coming out in children. And we were not targeting any particular game. Yes, PUBG, because it was very popular that time. So my point was always that there is a ESRB rating there, the Entertainment Software Review Board rating of every application, which clearly mentions it has violence, it has blood, it has drug use, it has sexual abuse or something, or sexual violence. So my concern was that these ratings were ignored in our country. Like, for example, PUBG was always rated a 17 plus game. But the sad part when I used to go and interact with children, and I found, was that right from age lowest as 8 years, 9 years, have started consuming the game. So there is a level of maturity required when you play these kind of games. And if that maturity and brain is not there, then you start seeing the ill effects. And the major challenge which we were facing, I have written cases where parents have written to me the condition of their child, and they have gone through rehabilitation, they have gone to internet shut clinics to cure their child. So the major concerns was addiction, the second was the mental health challenge, and this all can be managed if you are following the guidelines. And when you mention similar games, so yes, there are some similar games, like Fortnite is one popular game. There is one Call of Duty, which is again on the similar lines. But what I've seen is that if the child is mapping himself with the guidelines and is maintaining a time discipline. So entertainment is entertainment. All of entertainment will not help you. So if there is a balance, then I don't find any very key issues. And there have been studies by major universities across the globe, like Harvard's and all, where they also have two opinions. One opinion say no, by playing such game, violence and aggression is not aggravated. There is an opinion which says yes, it is aggravated. So I think these are debatable points, but yes, there is some impact of the family background also on the child. So it is not only we can put it on the game. So I can show you some very good gamers who are constantly on these games like PUBG, but you will find them in a real world. They have a very peaceful personality. You will not find any aggression, or they are fighting or killing people. But just to mention that in Netherlands, somebody stabbed somebody because he was visualizing himself as a character of Fortnite, and he visualized that somebody might kidnap her daughter and take him to North Pole. So he actually stabbed two people in Netherlands, and this was, I was just reading. So, and this person is not a child, he's a 34-year-old person who got, I would say, mentally obsessed by that character which he was playing on that game.
Yeah, I think you mentioned, you raised quite a few red flags, and even I was reading about how the 16-year-old or the 17-year-old in Punjab ended up spending rupees 17 lakhs
Yes.
from his grandfather's account to buy some virtual ammunition for PUBG. Uh, this is
So,
extremely addictive and can get fairly dangerous, isn't it?
so let me tell you what happens in these games. If you are a good gamer and you reach to a certain level, and because it's a multiplayer game, you are playing with people from various part of the country. So they also have seen a lot of cyberbullying happening on these games, and children are psychologically affected. I have seen a child literally crying in front of me, where a PUBG gamer was actually bullying him to a very high extent. So problem is, ma'am, that these children, they start visualizing themselves as a character, and when they start visualizing themselves as a character, to bring that character to a better level or limelight in front of their peers, they have to purchase these virtual accessories to come to a next level. And if you don't, then you are not treated as a good person. And to fight that, and you must literally agree that social media itself has played a very big role, where children are today finding their reputation on the basis of quantification of likes and comments. So you have good likes, you are a wonderful person. You don't have good likes, sorry, you are not a good person. So this mental problem is also one I am seeing a big challenge, and that is why you rightly said that these children, they quietly start consuming digital money. Acha, you take out cash and you carry out cash, that is actually visible. But if you use a card number and a CVV, that is not visible to anyone, and people are very ignorant about checking their online statements and SMS, and they finally come to know when after 1 month they receive a statement that 15 lakh or 10 lakh rupees have gone. Parents, I always advise that the parents should know which game my child is consuming. The parent should at least play the game once with the child as a multiplayer game to understand the impact and what kind of a content the game is serving to your child, so that even if he is getting exposed to something, then you are there to correct him as a
Right.
parent.
Right.
But I fail to see where parents don't even know what kind of a game they are playing, how they have downloaded it, whether it is on the right age rating or not. And that is where we start having such issues.
Some very valid points that you communicated, that gaming should be age appropriate, it should be in moderation, and you should choose wisely. What about positive gaming? There is growing evidence that there are games with good storyline which tend to improve cognitive abilities, which tend to sharpen reflexes. Do you think there is a sort of a school of
So
thought which says that if you're not playing, you are actually missing out on a certain amount of fun and learning? That they try to find line between education and entertainment. What is your view on that?
I had a discussion with a child who was a PUBG lover, and he actually was raising these points which you said, and said, by playing PUBG, my teamwork improves, my leadership skills improve, my reflexes improve. So, mane, what do you do of those reflexes in real life? You are not a fighter. You are not standing on the border of Pakistan and fighting, where you need some good reflexes. Your knowledge about shooting and artillery is good. I was shocked when I was traveling with a cousin family, and I think a 7 or 8 year old child sitting, and we were crossing by some military zone, and there were some guards standing with their machine guns, and this child actually named the machine gun. It is called MP5 or 3 or something, with his knowledge. So, and then he was appreciating himself, saying that my knowledge has increased because I'm playing such games. So many, then you should get immediately been recruited to Indian defense or armed forces. You will be very happy to have a person like you with your knowledge. So yes, there is positive gaming. Gaming is good. Some time to be spent on gaming. It do improves on with the help of storyline, your reflexes, your mind strategy building, and all that stuff. But that depends upon the content also. I would say even PUBG would be a good game if you are consuming in a right direction, no addiction. Like, you know what has happened with PUBGs and other games, you would find children consuming it for 8 to 10 hours constantly without any break, and that is really getting harmful, because you are missing on your hygiene, you're missing on your health, you're missing on your proper meals, you're missing on your sleep. Now the sleep pattern of children, today morning one of my friends called me, and he was asking that his son has completed his graduation and now looking for a job. Well, no, he's not looking for a job, he's sleeping the whole day and playing the whole night.
Oh,
So that is so that is again issues of concern.
Right.
But yes, there are, I would agree, there are games, and I've seen with small kids, when you give them some good video based applications to play in game, so they tend to become smart. Like, you play games where the, like chess, they are playing chess,
Yeah.
they are playing vocabulary
Minecraft.
games where,
Yeah.
right, they make words, so their spellings improve, their vocabulary improve. And so I would agree, for every game there is something to learn. But then screen time management, no addictions, and content we have to see, like the GTA being a very popular, which is rated 18 plus, but I'm very sorry that children are consuming it, and that is a alarming thing for me and as far as the parents, because I don't want children to get educated about drugs and killing and sex at such a tender age. So we try to avoid children to consume uh, explicit content or pornography, just for the reason they are trying to corrupt their thoughts and corrupt their even their character. Because you have seen lately, I have seen personally, when I interact with children, that a lot of complaints about sexting have increased in our country at a very young age, where children, innocent children, they tend to share body part pictures, and then they get into trouble of blackmailing and extortion and stuff like that. So uh, this all knowledge, I think we have to create a lot of awareness and education for children to understand that, because internet doesn't know who is consuming. It is a 3-year-old sitting in front of the screen, or a 20-year-old, or a 30-year-old. So there I need a lot of parental control and technology parenting to be introduced, so that the parents don't just call themselves, my child is very smart on a device and he can hack my ID also. I don't like those statements. I want parents also to be equally equipped when they are giving technology. So I don't allow my child to drive a car until unless I have personally tested him and he has a valid license. Then I throw him on the road. Now today you can go alone and pick your sister and come back. But till that time, I don't allow him to drive a car. And similarly, I don't allow him a license on internet to drive on the super internet highway till I know that he is aware of the threats, he knows what are the netiquettes, what are the pitfalls, and how does he protect himself. And that basic cyber hygiene is very, very important.
I think very valid points conveyed by you. What is a bigger problem? The too much awareness when it comes to the children, or the total lack of awareness when it comes to parents? I think that is really the question that you are raising. And can we just conclude by saying, by one last question, to play or not to play? What is the answer? Go ahead, play,
So,
but play in limitation and moderation, and choose wisely. Or what is
so ma'am,
your final
I
statement?
I remember that statement used to come when we were children, all play and no work, and all work and no play. So I think a balance is required. Children, you can't take them away from video games. Video games have been very interesting. Even at our age, when we started getting the small toys to play video games like Pokemons and Pac-Man and all those play. So gaming is going to be there. Yes, I need that balance, very important. Screen time management is very important between productive screen time and non-productive screen time. The ESBR rating has to be we should not avoid that rating. As a parent, as a child also, we should be responsible enough to see that I am just 13-year-old, so I cannot consume a 18 plus game. So
Right.
that balance is required. And I should have a small reasonable time to be allowed to play a game for my relaxation, entertainment, and whatever reasons we have to give. But hours and hours of gaming and then no time for your other activities, and you are missing out on your health, your hygiene, your education, that is going to have dangerous consequences. And then we also have to be very careful. Even if I'm playing 30 minutes a day, then I should not be a victim of any good bullying. And children should be educated that in multiplayer game, you don't share your personal information to strangers, because every gamer is a stranger. They
Right.
use those alias names, like I am called gamer X40 or devil 320 or something like that. They have code names. So children, they are very innocent, and they start telling their real identity, their school name, what does the father do, what does the mother do, where do they stay. So all that is very risky. So that knowledge, parents should take care that the child, when he's allowed to play a multiplayer game, see, playing a game alone in a secured environment, I have no problems. My child in my home is playing a Ludo, but the same Ludo, when he's playing online, he's playing with strangers.
Right.
And those strangers, the biggest concern right now, which is I'm concerned about, especially during the lockdown and unlockdown, where my children have been totally on screen because of schooling, because of education. The biggest concern I have seen in India with my kids is online grooming. And this online grooming can happen anywhere. It can happen on WhatsApp, Instagram, PUBG, or any multiplayer game, even a Ludo game. So I have seen cases of stalking, cyber stalking, where people unnecessarily start stalking. A stranger starts stalking you because they met on Ludo. So privacy, security, safety, and well-being. These 4 pillars should be very well addressed when my child enters into the world of internet, whether it is through game, whether it is through social media sites, whether it is through a YouTube channel. So these 4 pillars have to be very, very important and taken care of. And I think it should be given as a basic curriculum in schools now, and it has to be given now, because till the new normal, we are in this new normal, our education is going to be online.
In the backdrop of COVID-19, with home confinement being the order of the day, kids and adults will resort to online gaming, and this is only set to increase. So long as there are checks and balances, such as one is playing age-appropriate games, there's screen time management, one is good to go. However, there's one thing you need to remember, that the virtual space is a tricky space. Sharing too much personal private information is a big no. After all, there's nothing private and anonymous when it comes to the virtual world, because the cloud stores it all. Parental intervention and guidance is a must and necessary in the case of children.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.